SBR Videos is sponsored by Sports Cash System. Click on the link below for more information. We are previewing UFC 166 here at SBRForum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, and we are talking right now with returning guest Nick Kalikas from MMAoddsbreaker.com and managing editor from MMAoddsbreaker.com, Brian Hemminger. And right now we're going to discuss Roy Nelson, Daniel Cormier. Now here we go again, right? Another huge favorite line, one of these MMA fights. How do we decide where the value is? Not exactly clear. Cormier minus 525 at 5 dimes right now. Nelson plus 415 on the other side. Obviously, Cormier should be a huge favorite here, right? He's undefeated, one of the top contenders in the division, trains with Cain Velasquez. You got to go Cormier or nothing here, right, Brian?
Kind of. It's difficult because he's such a big favorite. Like it's really not worth it to bet him straight. Absolutely. After seeing Roy Nelson in that last fight against Stipe Miocic, it's a little perplexing that he's fighting Cormier in the first place. He's facing somebody tougher after he just got completely dominated for 3 straight rounds by, a superior striker. So definitely, if you have to pick Cormier, maybe throw him in a parlay. But at minus 525, it's absolutely not worth it to bet him right now.
Okay, well, why? What's the argument against Cormier at minus 525? He dominates in all areas.
There's just not enough return for your money, in my opinion. And at heavyweight fights, with odds that big, with the power that these guys have, it's just never worth it to bet a favorite that heavy. Like, look at Smulhino Rama last week for MFC. Everybody thought he was the next big thing. He was like minus 600. A lot of people put him in parlays, and then boom, knocked out with a head kick. It just happens.
So Nick Kalikas, what do you think? You think this is one of these big favorite lines that's just a little bit too big?
I agree completely with Brian here in this situation. I opened it closer to 4-1. The public bet it up. Matchups are everything. And this is a strange matchup. I can't believe the UFC actually went ahead and gave him this fight. I mean, Cormier was kind of pulling for this fight. It was supposed to happen for a while now. They have this little rivalry between, obviously, Cormier and Nelson. But after Nelson got dominated by Stipe, I didn't think it made sense at all. And the UFC still made this fight. So I think, there's no secret about it. The UFC's not a very huge fan of, big fan of Roy Nelson. So they're expecting, I think, Cormier to win as well. Everybody's expecting Cormier to win. And then the other strange thing is Cormier, after this win that he should get, he's going to drop to 205. So this doesn't make much sense to me at all. He should get the W here. But the problem is, again, matchups are everything. And I think Stipe is actually a better matchup as far as it's kind of an easier fight for Stipe against Nelson than it might be for Cormier versus Nelson. Because the interesting thing is here, I mean, the size is going to be pretty close to the same, and Roy has a tremendous amount of knockout power. Where he struggled with Stipe's reach, he's not going to have that same problem here. But Cormier, no doubt about it, right now especially, is probably the number 3 heavyweight in the world. So Roy Nelson's in for an uphill battle here. He's not going to win this fight. But I just think that every situation here, Cormier should win. It's just too dangerous to lay 5-1. There's no way. You pass this fight, there's a lot better fights on the card, from top to bottom, to bet on than this.
All right, so what kind of public action have you gotten on this one? Because, Nelson's obviously a popular guy, and, when he starts getting up there in the odds, I'm thinking maybe the public would be attracted to him.
Well, it's amazing how one fight changes everything. Yeah, the public out there, they love you, and then you get beat once, and you're garbage. They throw you away. And that's kind of what's going on with Roy Nelson here. He got dominated by Stipe. Before that, he was probably the hottest, one of the hottest heavyweight commodities the UFC had because he was knocking everybody out.
Right.
So people jumping off his bandwagon so fast here, and everybody's betting Cormier. We're going to get some action back, no doubt about it, because of the knockout power of Nelson. There's going to be some heavy bettors that come in just to kind of hope that he gets that knockout win because the line is a little bit too high.
But suffice to say, you're going to probably wind up needing Nelson at least a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. In a situation like this, a lot of times with the parlays, even with those sickos out there that are willing to lay 6-1 on a bet, we're probably going to need Nelson to come through. So I'll be hoping for that upset knockout win for sure.
Brian Hemminger, what do you think? Are you a sicko? If you had to bet this fight, would you take Nelson or Cormier at the current odds?
Well, you have to expect Cormier to win, but I would be one of those sickos that might toss in like $10 on Roy Nelson just to see what happens.
No, I think that's not very sick at all. It's sick to lay 5.5 to 1. It's not sick to take 4 to 1 on the other side, right?
Yeah, like the return on your investment for the anything that can happen in MMA, it's just not worth it for me.
I hear you. All right, Nick Kalikas, which way would you bet this fight if you had to?
I won't touch it, honestly. This is a fight that you just kind of watch as a fan and hope for a nasty heavyweight knockout. That's about it. Just save your money. Keep your money in your pocket. On to the next one.
All right. Nice preview, guys. Thanks.